Breaking news into Sports Center. DeMarcus Boogie Cousins in the All-Star game in New Orleans. Doesn't have to go too far. Our Mark Stein breaking the story. The Pelicans have agreed to trade Buddy Hield, Tyreke Evans, Langston Galloway, and a future first and second round pick to the Kings for DeMarcus Cousins. Cousins averaging 27.8 points per game. That is fourth best in the NBA behind only Russell Westbrook, Isaiah Thomas, and James Harden. Boogie Cousins, no, I did not give him the nickname. Cousins in the middle of his best year as a pro. You see the average points per game, also career high in assists, three-point percentage, and player efficiency rating. And let's go back to New Orleans right now, the new home of Boogie Cousins. That's where we find our insider Mark Stein, who broke the story, and Mark Spears of the Undefeated. Mark Stein, we'll start with you. I'm reading all these reports. Vlade Divac, the Kings insisted they were not going to trade Boogie, and yet here we are. So what happened?
Yeah, Steve, it was just about 2 weeks ago that Vlade Divac told me emphatically we are not trading DeMarcus Cousins. We want him to be for the long term. Of course, Cousins, had he stayed in Sacramento, would have been eligible for an extension in excess of $200 million this summer. But the New Orleans Pelicans this week basically just ignored those proclamations from the Kings, and they put together this offer. Initially thought to be Buddy Hield and 2 future first-round picks. It's actually Buddy Hield, a future first, Tyreke Evans, who, of course, was drafted in Sacramento. Very interesting gamble by the Pelicans because Jaron Akana, Cousins' agent, also told me tonight DeMarcus Cousins is unlikely to sign an extension with anyone who trades for him before Thursday's deadline. So the Pelicans are just going ahead with the gamble by all accounts and would submit this trade for league approval tomorrow when the league reopens for business.
Mark Spears, what's your take on this now? I mean, the Pelicans come into play into the All-Star break just 2.5 back of the Nuggets for the last playoff spot in the Western Conference. Does this make them a playoff team right now?
Hey, I'm happy for Cousins. It was time for him to get out of there. I know he's loyal and this, that, and the other, but it was just a bad situation. How many coaches has he had? How many general managers, teammates, owners? He just needed to go. He wants to get to the playoffs. He'll get it here. And to me, the Pelicans are making a great, great move. It's not going to be risky. Hey, Jaron, I've known him for a long time, but I take the risk. Why? One, he's going to be playing with one of the best players in the world, Anthony Davis. Two, he's from Mobile, Alabama, which isn't too far from here. And also, I believe the Pelicans are in their TV market, so people back home could watch him all the time. I think they'll be able to re-sign him despite what's being said. I love this move for New Orleans.
Cousins played just 2 minutes in the All-Star game. That is the fewest by any All-Star dating back to 1971. What about the fit for you, Mark Stein, the fit in New Orleans?
Well, look, New Orleans has been after a center. They've considered Greg Monroe in the past. They looked at Jahlil Okafor. They've talked about maybe going after Brook Lopez. So they want a traditional center to put next to Anthony Davis, so Davis doesn't have to play center. And obviously for the Pelicans, this is a coup to be able to pull this off because DeMarcus Cousins, you put him in that same group with Jimmy Butler, Paul George, Carmelo Anthony, guys that we've been talking a lot, but that we didn't expect would actually move before the trade deadline. So for New Orleans to get Sacramento to change its position so quickly, for sure locally, this is going to be seen as a huge coup for the Pelicans.
You know, lots of rumors out there. What's going on with Mike and Mike? I'm thinking Mark and Mark sounds pretty good. How do you guys feel about that?
We'll take it.
I bet you will. All right, fellas, thanks very much from New Orleans. We'll see you.
Wow, man, 26 years old, and to think Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins, because Anthony plays up top around the high-low game.
Stars.
Wow, I don't know how much is left around them,
right.
But boy, that is something building going forward.
And the NBA, to win, you have to have really 2 superstars. Right. You really do.
And 3 or 4 really good players.
Right. And
wow.
Big men, 2 big men superstars. They're hard to find.
Tasty.
And in New Orleans, that's great. Good for them. I think Boogie is the most interesting man in the NBA also. He's
no doubt.
Fun to watch.